And we're back, and this is going to be a really interesting video. Why? Because this is a palette review. This is literally like the palettes that I have not parted with yet. I gave away a lot last year. I sent out a ton of freebies to my group members of my group page, Watercolor for Beginners. So go over and join that, because anytime you use any of my affiliate links to purchase things, I actually order them, review them for the channel, and then give them away. So I do a lot of really cool giveaways to you guys. Anyway, we're going to review all these palettes really quick. I'm not going to take a ton of your time. I just want to give you an overview of some of the better palettes that I've loved, and just give you a quick browse, you know, starting with probably the smallest ones. So this was one of the smaller ones. This one is by Winsor Newton, and it actually has a little cup. I tend to love the ones that have little cups in them if I can, because it just makes it easier. Now, what I did with this is I took out what came with it. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. And I haven't opened this in so long. And I made a tiny little custom palette, like just to show what's in there, like swatches. And it originally came with these little rails. The thing I don't love about this palette is, one, it's so small. I mean, to me, it's just way too small, but it is very functional. And if I can ever get this thing to slide on right, you have one water cup, and then this side you can either use for mixing, or like I did, just jam pack it with more watercolor, and then keep one kind of empty to mix in, because these were almost useless, right? So there are some pros and cons to this. I'm going to show you another one that I feel is more functional, but again, if you love this one and you think it's adorable, you know, it's not terrible. These mixing areas to me are totally useless unless you're doing like very, very tiny things, but it does have a water cup. So not my favorite. So we're going to speed forward, okay? Because I don't want to waste a lot of your time on something that I personally don't think is the best. This one I think is so great. So this is the other one. This is called the Portable Palette. And this I use constantly because it's got larger mixing wells. It has enough paint, and you can additionally pour paint in here. And then when it dries, you can, you know, kind of just fold it over. There's also a little area for a brush, and that will fit a regular travel brush. So if you have some of the travel brushes, like the Tintorito or the Escoda travel brushes, they will fit in there, so you can carry a great brush. This is my most used. I don't use this one, but I mean a lot of you do, because it's a tiny little brush. But if you just make a little swatch card and slide it in there, you have two water cups that slide on the sides, and then it will close back together, and literally bam, look at that. Now, the thing I loved about this is because those water cups are placed on either side, you can lay your knee over it, or you can just hold it, or you can clip it to your book. So it's really, really easy. And then this little band makes it easy to bring additional brushes with you. So just as long as they have a travel brush, then this is great. I love this one. I think this is such a win for a small palette with water. That, you know, you have water cups. Those are really great. Aside from that, the Fraser price, if you want to get really fancy and you want to treat yourself, when this is on sale at Jackson's, it's really, really fun and such a beautiful brass, like romantic palette. I like the fact that it's very deep in here, so I can actually insert pretty much whatever I want. Now, it came with these rails, but I cleared this area out. It had like a little water container there, and then some like, it has like a little square container here and a water, so that you could have your water situation going, or mixing wells. I just filled it with paint, and honestly, I would just put in a few extra of these empty so that you can use them to mix with. And then this again would fit. I locked my brush up in here, didn't I? So this again would fit a travel brush. See, so like whether, well, not that one. It's not a good brush anyway. Got to buy your own travel brushes. So the travel brush that I almost lost in here, and I will not remember to get it, would fit in there. So that's the Tintorito travel brush. Fits in both of these. And what an amazing thing that is. So portable painter, linked below. Get it at Jackson's so that you know you're getting the real deal. And it's a beautiful one. If you love brass and you want something that will last a very, very long time and is very fancy, then this is a great one. It even fits, you know, like a lot more than the portable palette does. And the Tintorito travel brush fits in it perfectly. I love the look of this palette, actually. I think it's so gorgeous. And it's got this here, so literally you can hold it very easily. Again, though, the mixing area, bigger than the other, right? Bigger than that first one, and a nicer made palette. But I would just fill in these bottoms. Like even if you have kuretake, if you have kuretake squares, you can put them in the bottom. You can even build a second layer. Like literally, you could even just glue your kuretake to cards like this, and you could actually put 2 layers of watercolor in there just by being crafty, right? But that's a gorgeous palette, and look at how fancy and pretty it is. I mean, it's really, really lovely. So that's another palette. Okay, let's do the A Gallo, because A Gallo is such a lovely watercolor. They come in these palettes, different sizes, depending on how many watercolors you order from them. But it's a really, really beautiful tin, and it's got a little thumb hole to hold it. It's a traditional tin. The one thing I do realize, though, that this does is, if you notice this, is it sits at an angle. So if you're holding it, it's fine, but that leaves you really just with this mixing area. And if you look at the angle, this is angled and doesn't really bend back. The problem with that is that when you mix in there, unless you're holding it here, it's going to roll right in to that if it's too wet. So you do kind of like hold this at an angle. And I don't know if maybe it was meant that way, because if you think about it, if you're left-handed, then this is flat just on your hand being that way. Then everything is perfect because you can literally go in here, grab your paint, mix it, and then you're right on. So if you're going to hold it, it's great. But if you're sitting, then this becomes not really that usable. But the watercolors are insanely nice. They are so beautiful. And this is a great quality watercolor. So well done, A Gallo. Sennelier, if you purchase one of their little starter kits, it comes with this really neat tin. And I did a whole video review on this and making this into a watercolor palette for yourself. I love this. I think this is so much fun, and literally it can hold so much. You can put brushes, all kinds of stuff. You can even get a small water bottle and put it all in there and take it with you. So this is the cheapest thing to get, being that it's Sennelier. It's French watercolor. They are gorgeous watercolors. It comes with a starter kit. So what I did is I got the little empty shells, and I took the basics that came in the kit, added some colors to it, and then mixed custom colors from those colors to create more convenience colors for me to paint with. And then, of course, I always keep a few little extras just to mix in. So some of them will be pretty much empty, or you can mix in here. Now, I created a palette cover just with some magnets, but you can take that out and you can mix right in the tin if you like. So nice, cool idea to travel with. It's not watertight, but you know what? It's pretty good. It really is. And you don't even need, it closes. You don't even need to like tape it shut. Just no water in there, but that's okay. Next is a Schmincke box. So if you get the Schmincke granulating color sets, they come in these boxes. And what's great about them is you can paint them, or you can create your own little Schmincke watercolor sets. And all I did with this is I just put some metal plates down on the bottom, and then I put some magnets on the bottom of those. And then you can kind of arrange this any way you want. And again, the Tintorito brushes, you can actually fit 2 in there, plus a bunch of watercolors. These are full pans. I love this idea to create a custom granulating watercolor palette from the 5, I think it's 5 colors that come in here, 5 tubes. And then, you know, put 5 in and then mix your own colors, or put in some complementing colors in here. You can also either paint this, or put a piece of plastic in here and use this as a mixing tray. You can also glue some of these up in here for mixing trays, or if you have Kuretake, empty Kuretake watercolors, those make great mixing trays. So always recycle those. Recycle anything you can, guys. It's such a smart way to be. These two I got on Jackson's. I love them. They're Schmincke. They are limited edition palettes, and I think that they just lay perfectly. So whether I am going to lay them there, you can see they lay perfectly flat. So I can use this side as mixing or this side as mixing. I like the fact that it has individual little mixing trays so I can keep things separate. And it has a lot of extra spots where I can put additional watercolors. So this was the basic botanical set that came with there, and then I added a few colors to it. I love it. It is just adorable. And I love the silver. I think they're beautiful sets. You can additionally mix here if you want, but I just made this is the C set, what comes in the C set, and then I added some. And again, I just take watercolor paper, make my own little swatch cards, and put little magnets on the back, and that sticks them in the trays. These are amazing and really all you need, right? And again, travel brushes. Escoda travel brushes and Tintorito fit right into these very easily. Beautiful, beautiful sets. Love these. I've done full reviews on all of these actually. Okay, so now moving into these ones. Well, let me just show you these real quick. So if you order Schmincke by the set, these come in these tins. These ones are actually empty. I cleared them out because I have a huge set of Schmincke that I'm going to show you. But they are reusable and they're really, really nice. Even if you get the tubes, this was originally a tube set. So the tubes were lined in and I pulled out the liner so that I could just fill it with anything I wanted to. I have since cleaned it out and used something else. The same thing goes for this wider tin. I'll show you what I did. I actually cut watercolor paper that sits in the tin, and I have left this rail in to divide it so that I can have, and then I have some little like sponges here just to keep them in place. And I can put watercolor like little half pans inside of this rail. This rail will fit full pans, and then I left this rail in and took these two out, and this had just this was one that had tubes, so you can either put tubes back in, you can put things you need like your sponge, even a little tiny water reserve box. You can put more watercolor paper, pencils. You can make this a sketching kit. This would be a great sketching kit, you know. And it's got enough room in between here and the bottom to really load that up. And then plus you have this reserve as a mixing palette, but also to be able to put all this paper in. And there you go. And it just even has like a little holder. So these make really great little mixing palettes. So you never go wrong when you buy Schmincke tins because they last forever. And you not only get great colors, but you end up with amazing tins that you can use moving forward. Personally, whether you get the tubes or the ones with already the pans in them, both are great. But there's always enough room for a lot of different things. Like you could cut landscape paper and put that there. So don't shy away from getting a good deal on mixing tins, you know, of Schmincke, because you can always use your tins. So these are just basic. You got these at Amazon and they're really, really convenient. I like the smaller profile of them. I think they're fun. And they also have, I probably can't get this out because I've never taken it out, but you can lift these out, just not easily, obviously, because it's stuck. But if you want extra mixing space, there you go. I have to clean these. I haven't opened this in like a year. But I like the fact that the wells are tilted and you have a ton of mixing area. So if you're one of those people who like you like a smaller profile, then perfect. Look at that. You can put your travel brush in there. You can put sponges, cloths in there, little tissues. You can even cut watercolor paper for this size and literally paint like that. You know what I mean? And that makes a really neat, kind of airtight, low profile, very, very light plastic. And it comes in pink too. So really neat. I like the fact, again, these wells are pretty deep and they're angled so they don't like kind of get in here. But this is a great, really super cheap one that you can get on Amazon. Moving right along, my Roman Szmal wood box set. I did a full review of this on the channel, and hello, it is amazing. One thing I noticed from 2019 to today is the addition of the mixing wells. So now this beautiful palette that everybody complained about it because it had no mixing wells and you had to paint it or establish your own, it now has a plastic sleeve in there, and I ended up not using it anyway because I usually don't take this with me. I usually have this on my desk, and I use like one of these beautiful ceramic palettes, which of course, just so you know, in a ceramic palette, you could stick little full pans and half pans in some of these and then use the rest as mixing wells. You can even like put them right in the center. So if you wanted to use ceramic, you can, it's very, very easy to arrange these any way you like. I tend to just use them on my desk. I like mixing in a ceramic because ceramic doesn't stain and it has this very smooth kind of finish where you mix the paint together and it's just a lovely mix. So that's a great thing to do, is mix in ceramic. But this, best paint, hands down. I love the company. Roman Szmal's made in Poland and kind of similar to White Nights, but way better quality, lots of granulating colors, hand painted charts. It's just got all the beauty and romance of traditional watercolor in fine materials and a beautiful wood box. Love it. One of my favorite. Actually, that's my most used palette. This was a Schmincke palette that is a wood box. I've cleared it out, just so you know. But if I want to use it, you would just again, this is a great shape to cut papers and leave this. I mean, you literally can almost fit a ½ inch of paper in there and paint right in there. Like right in there you could paint. And then you could fill this with tons and tons of these. I mean, you would literally never run out of room. And you can put tons of brushes here, or you can additionally put more watercolor there. And you have all these, you could put pencils, you can do sketching kits, you could do anything you want. So this is a really nice palette. So if you can pick this up in the wood box sets on sale, this is a really nice one. The only thing it does not do is it's got a closing action. So in other words, the hinges are done in a way that they close tightly, but I would still put something over it, even though there's a magnet kind of holding it closed. But I love it. I just think that it won't stay closed on its, it will stay closed on its own, see, but it doesn't take much to open it, right? But I love the size of this, and the quality of it is beautiful. It's equal to the plastic one. So if you're, it just doesn't have the mixing area that the plastic one has. So you have to kind of create your own mixing area. That's the only drawback to it. But you can easily do that with plastic. Okay, next is a little size up, a Magello palette. This palette has a clear plastic area here that's really interesting because it comes out. So in between that, you have some room to put some watercolor paper back there if you wanted to. Will a travel brush fit into there? Yes, it will. You can actually keep your travel brush here. The thing I like about this one is that if you have watercolor that doesn't dry quickly, it doesn't have to go on both sides. You can keep the watercolor in these really, really large wells and use this as mixing area, even take this out and use it as a mixing area. And then when you shut it, if you have paper behind here, it will keep the paper dry and clean, and you can let it kind of air dry a little bit and then shut it. I haven't tested to see if it actually is waterproof, but it's a nice palette. It comes out of Korea. I believe it's one of the Magello palettes. The only thing I did notice is it stains. So you can see, even though I cleaned it, it still stains. Still a good palette though, nice size and well arranged. Another palette that I love is the one that comes with the Magello paints. Magello paints are really bright and great for florals. They're really fun paints to use, but I noticed that the price has significantly gone up. So if you're going to purchase paint and you don't have a good deal on these, I would definitely go with Schmincke instead, because although there are some lightfast colors and some really beautiful convenient colors, still the quality of the paint, although very bright, is more, I don't know, it's just not up to Roman Szmal, and it's not up to Schmincke. But with that being said, I've painted some really amazing things with it. And what I do love is the arrangement of colors that they recommend. They give you so many interesting colors to use. You can see, I love the arrangement of them. So I tend to arrange my palettes based on what I learned from the Magello palette. The palette itself is really cool, and I do really love the way it's arranged because you could do it any way you wanted to, you know. I love the lights to darks. I think that's really great because when you mix in here, you're not going to really go neutral mixing any of these together, and any of these together are going to keep you in those earthy tones. So separating them makes a lot of sense because they do mix well together. And then you have an additional palette here to mix in, or you can cut large pieces of paper and paint right in this area. It also holds plenty of things no matter what you want. So I'm always looking for stuff like that. I think this palette is amazing, and the watercolor's not bad. It really isn't, but it's not something I would spend hundreds of dollars to get because you can get way better paint. That's the Mission Gold palette. Another Mission Gold or Magello palette is this one made in Korea. It's called the Bulletproof palette. I actually use this a lot. I love the quality of the, it says it's glass. It doesn't really feel like glass. It's more like plastic. But I love the big deep wells, the mixing areas. I never run out of space. I keep filling, and refilling. The one backdrop to this is that if you have paint that doesn't dry, you have to leave it and then just cover it, because if you close it, it will all fall on itself. As you can see, some paint that I had just in here, it just falls in, but then you can clean it up. It's not a big deal. For the size of this palette, you have to have a lot of room to paint with, and it doesn't have a way to really hold it, although it's well weighted, so I don't tend to drop it. I just love the size of the mixing area. It's great. And I can like just put it on the side, you know, and just kind of like even angle it up if I want to, you know, like just sitting it like this. And still, if it's slightly tilted, I can access this area, mix in any of these areas, and still draw paint out, you know. I would probably do it this way though, because the wells are deeper here. So if you were going to have it on a slant, this makes more sense than this because this would drop out. But again, it's a huge palette. It's cleans up so well. It doesn't stain that much. I find that the best way to clean it is with a little soapy water. And let's take a look here. This is brush cleaning water. So it works pretty good. You can see how it cleans up pretty easily as far as their claim of why this is such a cool palette. I personally love the arrangement of this palette. It's really easy to use, and the material is really neat. And for it being such a like ceramic kind of palette, it is so super light. But it's not actually glass, unless glass has become very plasticky, because it's definitely plastic. All right. But one of my favorite ones, just huge, enormous. But if you like a big palette, that's it. The one that you guys always ask me about is this one, and it's actually by Paul Rubens. They come in pink and blue. They sell out constantly because of my reviews and my videos on them. But this is the benefit of it. It has these extra areas for mixing, or you can additionally actually stick in either stick them to here by putting metal on here and then metal on the back of them. And you can literally have hundreds of colors in this thing. And it's really light, and it's also waterproof. It's got like a plastic seal here, but you can see that these would fit in here if you wanted one regular, like just kind of well, and then one of these. I like this well because I don't need a mixing palette. I don't really use this that much. I use it sometimes when I'm not at my desk, but you have the option of it. But I think the value of it here is that you literally can take large brushes and go in there, and I can mix. I can even mix a second color over here and kind of keep them separate. So, I mean, I've dirtied up this palette. Like there's two kinds of pinks here, you know, but it is my most used palette, and I do love them. Just because I think it's just because the width of here makes it really convenient. But I've seen people literally put tons and tons of extra watercolors right here, and it closes well, and then they take it out and use this for mixing. But it does stain. So if you think that this isn't going to stain, don't even bother to clean it. It will stain like you wouldn't believe. Even with water and sitting there and working at it with brush cleaner, it still stains. You're still going to see a little bit of the pink left, a little of the staining colors, whatever it is that you use. even if you use brush cleaner and clean it off. So you can see it's just going to be a mix of pinks and blues and everything just stained right in there. And it's a really inexpensive palette, but you know, I gotta say, I still just love the big mixing wells. But my second favorite is this one. Like, I still grab for this one because when I'm making large paintings, this has got the mixing space that I need, you know, and I can dump watercolor. Like, literally, this is enough room. If you just wanted to use like this side to mix in, you could just fill this with watercolor, you know, fill it. You could just dump them in there literally, or you can put in pans. So there's so much. So yeah, which one do you like better? That's what I want to know. And I'll show you my two pride and joys. So let me pull this out. Two more for you. Tell me which one do you like better out of those. So here's one I made myself. This is a Royal Langnickel box that was just a really cheap box that I got at like a home goods store. It had other things in it. And what I did is I filled up these trays, and I took a little like this is just a piece of ceramic, like a ceramic dish that I bought, like a appetizer dish, and I just put it right in there. Then I have taken these little silver metal pieces, and I actually they were sticky on one side, put them on that side. And then I took metal and stuck it on the bottom of these so that they will stay put in there. And that's just like tons and tons of colors, you know. Since then, I've kind of like moved away from using it as much. But what it did serve is, if I just leave it like that, I used to have it here on my desk to the side and just be able to pull colors from it. What I found personally in doing this is that you lose track of what these colors are. And unless you have the room on your desk to have a full like palette, like full, where is that? A full list of everything in here. Having so many in one place is very difficult. You almost need to like do a row of color and then put a row of watercolor paper with these little swatches next to it, because I will dip into the wrong color every time. I am so bad like that. So the reason why you're seeing them kind of mixed up is because I literally, if they're two blues together, I will choose the wrong blue every time. So I can't really arrange it when it gets to the blues and the dark colors, because blues, purples, even some dark greens, they all look the same. You know, like this is purple, this is blue. You can't really tell. So the difficulty in having all stuck together is not having that individual run, which is in my next one that you're going to see now. So, you know, if you want to do this, this is such a cool idea though. Just clear out half of them, because you don't need so many, and just put a piece of watercolor paper in there and like, you know, put the swatches right underneath it and write real small. But this is gorgeous, right? And people ask me about it all the time because they see it on my desk. And I used to, you know, earlier videos I painted with it constantly. But then last year for the holidays, let's put all these away, I got the Mac Daddy watercolor box. I can't even shut this. It's just not my favorite. Okay. I got the Mac Daddy box. And I did a full review on it, so you can go back and review everything that's in it. This is the Schmincke beautiful full watercolor set, available at Jackson's, and it is such a great deal. Now, there are some additional colors, so let me explain. This came with the box, and these came with the box. This was a palette that is a ceramic palette inserted there. I removed it because I don't necessarily use this to paint like on my lap or something, so I usually have this next to me, or several of them. This used to have the brushes that came with it. I took my golds, these are those big kuretake pans, and I put them here because they fit perfect. So your kuretake pans can fit all the way across here. And then I took some of the styrofoam that came with this just to give me something to put things on. And you literally can put all your brushes in here. So here's the new brushes that I just reviewed on the channel. You can fit additional color in here, but here's the beauty. If you notice the way these come, they come in, they give you these beautiful little tin pins, right? To hold the pans in place. And there's enough room in the center to put little swatches of the colors. So just to give you an idea, you can put a brush, you can put brushes, store brushes in your watercolor set. So if you were a beginner or even an intermediate or advanced painter and you didn't want to have things everywhere, you can literally put the longer brushes in here and all of the shorter brushes would fit all throughout here. And I don't know how many brushes you have, but this isn't even full. This one I took out of another set and took all of some of my granulating paints and put them in here and inserted it. But there's enough room for you to put all of your brushes in there if you wanted to. Or you can put this back in, put paper underneath it, and then put a bunch of brushes in there. And it is just such a cool wood box set. This collector's item is amazing no matter which way you arrange it. But I love the fact that I can put the swatches in between, and then I painted a big swatch card right in the back here, and I stuck it in with just some like molding putty. And I have different ones, like I like these, you know, and I wrote the names of the colors. But because I have so many colors in here, I actually didn't swatch all of these. I just swatched all of the ones that came with the kit. So this actually is all of the colors that come with this set. But I love this set. And Schmincke is such a beautiful watercolor. You can't go wrong with it. It really is lovely. And it does come with, it comes with brushes too. So you get 2 beautiful brushes with it. All right. So those are my favorite palettes, the ones that I've tried and are true and I think will offer you the most value. And you've got something for everything now. You have something for traveling. You got ideas for whatever it is or wherever you're going to go or however you paint or whatever kind of space that you have available to you. I hope this was helpful, guys. I would love to know which ones you like the best and which ones you have yourself. So please be sure to share with me, and don't forget we have a group page. If you do use any of my links in the affiliate area, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much, because that's how we do reviews on my channel. Have a great one, you guys, and I'll catch you out there painting soon.